Would you fight back or stay silent? This 14-year-old made a choice, and the whole school is still talking about it. You ever notice how some kids act like they own the whole school? Like every hallway's their turf, every locker's their kingdom, and everybody else? Just background characters. That was Travis Connolly. Tall for his age, with that cocky grin that made teachers sigh and kids fall silent, Travis was a name you didn't say too loud in the lunchroom unless you were ready to be mocked, shoved, or made an example of. He wasn't a full-on criminal, not yet, but he was headed in that direction, fast. Millstone Junior High over in Little Rock, Arkansas, was a place that ran on routine. First bell, second bell, same cafeteria pizza every Thursday, same kids crowding the lockers, trying not to draw attention. And in the middle of all that, Travis, holding court like some teenage king. He had his little circle too. Dudes like Brian York and Zeke Chandler, who laughed a little too hard at everything he said, especially when he said it at someone else's expense. The teachers knew. They always know. But Travis was clever. He never crossed that obvious line. A trip here, a muttered insult there, just enough to rattle you without getting written up. Just enough to make kids think, yeah, maybe I'll just walk the long way to class. That day started like any other. The halls smelled faintly of floor wax and sweat, sneakers squeaking against the tiles, lockers slamming, conversations half finished as people ducked into classrooms, nothing out of place. Until the new kid showed up. He was standing by the main office, backpack slung low, looking around like he was already tired of being the new face. His name was Malik Grant. He had that calm, level look in his eyes, like he wasn't worried about fitting in or standing out, just there to handle business, do his time, and go home. Malik had transferred from Jackson, Mississippi, a rougher district with a lot less patience and a lot more fight. But you wouldn't know that by looking at him. Clean haircut, simple hoodie, jeans. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. Some kids looked at him like fresh meat. Others, they saw something in the way he moved, slow, precise, like he knew exactly where he was and what was coming next. But Travis didn't like the look of him at all. Maybe it was the way Malik didn't laugh at his jokes, or how he didn't flinch when Zeke accidentally bumped him between second and third period. Whatever it was, Travis clocked him from the jump. And once Travis decided he didn't like you, he made it his personal mission to break you. But what Travis didn't know, and what the rest of the school would find out real soon, was that he had just picked the wrong kid. Because Malik wasn't the kind to back down. He wasn't scared. He was just waiting. Malik didn't come from a place where you could afford to react to every little thing. Jackson taught him that. You react too fast, you end up in the wrong kind of trouble. But stay calm. Stay sharp. You learn how to read people, move smart, and keep your peace. That mindset didn't come out of nowhere, either. Malik was raised mostly by his grandfather, Ronald Grant, a retired Army staff sergeant who believed in three things: discipline, respect, and knowing how to protect yourself when words weren't enough. Since Malik was 6, they'd been training together every morning. Not just push-ups and drills. We're talking old-school martial arts, breathing, balance, focus. His granddad never framed it like violence. This ain't about hurting people, it's about knowing how not to be broken, he'd say, tightening Malik's wrist wraps before a session in their backyard. By the time he turned 13, Malik could disarm an adult twice his size without breaking a sweat. But he didn't go around bragging, didn't post videos, didn't try to show off. Your power's not in your fists, it's in your silence until the moment comes, Ronald reminded him one morning before school. Malik just nodded, slung on his backpack, and stepped out. Now here he was, standing in the middle of a school that didn't know a thing about him. First couple of days were quiet. Malik kept his head low, answered when spoken to, stayed off his phone, kept his hoodie on. Some kids whispered, others stared. But he let it roll off him like rain. He wasn't here to impress anybody. Except, Travis wasn't like the others. Where most kids ignored Malik or kept their distance, Travis leaned in. First it was little things, shoulder bumps, loud laughs that carried just a bit too far down the hallway, shoving past him at the water fountain like Malik wasn't even there. Then came the sarcasm. Hey, new kid, you mute or just allergic to real schools? Brian and Zeke cackled. Malik just looked at him and blinked once. Slow, calm. That only made Travis angrier. Bullies don't know what to do with silence. They expect fear, nervous laughter, some kind of reaction to feed off. But Malik gave him nothing, just stared, turned, and walked off. In the locker room after gym, Travis took it a step further. Bet your last school kicked you out, huh? Probably caught you stealing lunch money or something. Malik didn't flinch, just changed his shirt, tied his shoes, and walked out. But that quiet, that composure, it made Travis look weak in front of his boys, and weak was something he couldn't allow. So he started planning something bigger, something that would send a message, something public. And Malik could feel it coming. He'd seen it before, how someone like Travis builds up pressure like a balloon, just waiting to pop. But what Travis didn't know was that Malik wasn't going to be the one to burst. By the start of the next week, things had shifted. You could feel it in the halls. Travis was watching Malik like a hawk, always nearby, always with that same smirk, like he was waiting for Malik to slip up, give him a reason. But Malik didn't bite. He kept his answers short in class, didn't linger in the hallways, and sat near the front where the teacher could see everything. But Travis was patient when it came to games like this. On Tuesday, during third period algebra, a crumpled piece of paper landed on Malik's desk. He didn't even need to open it to know who it came from. Still, he unfolded it. Inside, tough guy can't even talk? Must be scared. Might have to test you soon. Malik slid the paper into his hoodie pocket, didn't react. But his hands were clenched under the desk. By the time lunch rolled around, the whispers had started. You know the kind. Heard Travis gonna check the new kid. He's planning something after fifth period. Malik better be careful. Zeke had even gone around hinting at it like it was some upcoming boxing match. Y'all better hang around the East Wing stairs after science, he told a table of 7th graders. It's about to get real. Malik knew what was coming. Not the exact time, not the exact place, but he could feel it. The way everyone kept glancing at him when they thought he wasn't looking. The extra space they gave him in the hallway. That strange silence when he walked by. And the worst part? Nobody said a word to stop it. Not the teachers, not the students, not even the ones who didn't really like Travis, but were too scared to be next on his list. Malik wasn't scared, but he wasn't looking for trouble either. His granddad had always warned him, sometimes winning don't look like a fight. It looks like knowing when not to swing. But this wasn't going to be one of those times, because Travis wasn't just poking a kid anymore. He was building a stage, gathering a crowd, getting ready to humiliate someone just to prove he still ran the halls. By Thursday, the setup was clear. Right after fifth period, East Wing, near the stairwell where the cameras didn't quite reach. Malik had two choices: go the other way and let Travis feel like he'd won, or show up and finish what Travis started. As he walked to his locker after fifth, Malik paused. He could hear the noise building already, a crowd pretending to be casual, but their eyes told the truth. Phones half out of pockets, nervous giggles, the kind of excitement that only comes when people know something messy is about to happen. He reached into his locker, pulled out his backpack, and zipped it shut. Then he stood there for a second, just breathing, slow, controlled. One of the younger kids, Jalen Ortiz, brushed past and whispered, "Yo, you good?" Malik just nodded and started walking toward the East Wing stairs. The hallway felt longer than usual, every step quieter than the last. He wasn't afraid, but he wasn't looking forward to it either. Because when you've got control like Malik had, the hardest part isn't the fight. It's knowing when to let go. But Travis had already made the choice for both of them. It was like the hallway knew something was about to happen. Kids weren't talking much, just watching. That weird kind of stillness where everything slows down for a second. Travis was already there, leaning against the stairwell wall, arms crossed, like he was the main event and everybody else had just come to see him win. Zeke was filming on his phone, acting slick about it, but not slick enough. Brian stood off to the side, hyping it up with his loud voice. "Yo, there he is! Malik Grant, ladies and gentlemen." Malik walked in calm, hood still on, hands at his sides, not twitching, not flinching, not scanning for exits, just present. Travis stepped forward, shaking his head. "You really came? Thought you might run off or something." Malik didn't answer. Travis smirked. "You're quiet, man. Too quiet. That's creepy. You think that makes you tough?" Still, Malik said nothing. He was watching Travis's hands, his feet, the space between them, calculating. That silence? It was starting to eat at Travis, so he stepped closer, too close, and shoved Malik hard in the chest. Malik stumbled back a step but didn't fall. Travis turned to the crowd. See? Ain't so tough. Just another wannabe. But when he turned back around, Malik was already squared up, feet planted, shoulders relaxed, eyes locked in. And Travis, he didn't know it yet, but he had already lost. He swung wide, fast, reckless, all anger. The kind of punch that looks good on camera but leaves you open. Malik stepped to the side like he saw it in slow motion. Then, pop. One palm to Travis's chest. Not a punch, a push with purpose. Travis's foot caught on the tile. His balance went out from under him. His back hit the floor with a loud thud. Wind knocked out. Mouth open, eyes blinking, confused like, what just happened? The crowd, dead silent. Zeke lowered his phone a little. Brian's mouth hung open. Malik stepped back, not toward Travis, but toward the wall. No victory lap, no trash talk, just space, respectful distance. He looked at Travis, then at the crowd. Y'all done now? He asked, voice low but clear. Travis sat up, holding his chest, still wheezing. The silence cracked when a door down the hall swung open and a teacher's voice yelled, "What's going on back here?" Students scattered like marbles. Malik didn't run. He didn't need to. By the time the assistant principal showed up with security, Travis was still on the ground trying to catch his breath, and Malik was standing in the same spot, arms crossed now, waiting. The video had already been sent around by then, airdropped, texted, even posted on someone's story. The whole school saw what happened before the staff could finish taking statements, but what made people stop scrolling wasn't the takedown. It was how calm Malik had been. No rage, no shouting, no ego, just defense. Controlled, precise. And even when he had the upper hand, he didn't gloat. He just let it be. But the school wasn't done with either of them, because this wasn't just a fight. It was the start of something bigger. Principal Dawes was already waiting when Malik and Travis got to the office. Travis was still breathing heavy, face red, shirt wrinkled. Malik, still calm. He took a seat without being told, backpack on the floor, hands in his lap. The principal closed the door, eyes moving from one boy to the other like he was trying to see through their skin. Someone want to tell me what happened? Travis opened his mouth first. He attacked me, man, for no reason. I was just standing there. Dawes raised an eyebrow. Really? He held up a phone, screen still playing the now viral hallway clip. Because this tells a different story. Travis shrank in his seat. Malik just stared straight ahead. Mr. Dawes turned to him. Malik, you got anything to say? Malik looked up. I told him twice not to touch me. He did anyway. That was it. No drama, no excuses, just the truth. Still, both of them were suspended. 3 days. School policy. Physical contact, no matter the reason. But the principal made a note. Malik acted in self-defense. That mattered. When Malik got home, his grandfather was sitting in the front room. News travels fast when phones are faster than adults. The video had already made its way to a local Facebook group. Ronald didn't yell. He just asked, "You okay?" Malik nodded. "You swing first?" "No, sir." "Did you lose control?" "No." "Then I'm proud of you." Malik sat down beside him on the couch, silence stretching between them like an old song they both knew. But the fallout didn't stop at home. By Friday, the video had hit TikTok. Not just in Little Rock, outside it too. The clip was short, maybe 12 seconds. You saw the shove, the swing, and Malik's smooth takedown. Then freeze frame, captioned, "Bully picks the wrong target." The comments were lit up. "That kid's a ninja." He warned him with his whole vibe. Malik's the kind of friend you want behind you. But others were colder. This is what happens when schools don't handle bullies. Why does a kid need to know how to fight like that? Where were the teachers? At school, things shifted, fast. Some students gave Malik a wide berth, not out of fear, more like respect. Others tried to befriend him, acting like they'd always been cool. Even a few teachers looked at him differently, like he was more grown than they'd realized. And Travis? He didn't speak much after that. For once, the hallway belonged to somebody else. But Malik didn't enjoy the attention. He didn't want it. One afternoon in the library, Jalen Ortiz sat down across from him. You think they'll leave you alone now? Malik shrugged. Maybe. You ain't mad you got suspended? No point being mad. I did what I had to. Jalen leaned forward. You think you'd do it again if someone tried you? Malik looked up. I hope I don't have to. But the truth was, Malik had changed something at Millstone. Not with violence, but by showing what real control looks like. The Monday after suspension, Malik walked back into Millstone like nothing had happened. No fanfare, no ego, just him, backpack over one shoulder, hoodie up, eyes forward. He headed to homeroom, sat down, opened his notebook like it was any other day. But the school wasn't the same. It wasn't just whispers anymore. It was how the energy in the hallway shifted when he walked by. The people who used to look right through him now looked at him like they were trying to figure him out. Some nodded, some avoided his gaze completely. Even Mr. Kilpatrick, the strict history teacher who never cracked a smile, paused when Malik handed in his homework and said, "Good to have you back." Malik didn't say much in return, just nodded once and sat down. But while things seemed to settle on the surface, something deeper had started moving underneath. During a staff meeting later that week, Ms. Rivera, the school counselor, spoke up. Why did it take a viral video for us to finally talk about bullying around here? No one had a real answer, so she organized a student forum, optional. No grades, no pressure. Just a space for people to talk about what happened, about what they saw, about what it meant. Malik almost didn't go, but his granddad told him, sometimes the fight ain't over when you walk away. Sometimes the hardest part is sitting still and using your voice. So he went. The gym was quiet when he walked in, maybe 40 students in the bleachers, some teachers sitting along the edge. Travis wasn't there, but Brian and Zeke were, keeping low, not making a scene. Ms. Rivera stood at center court with a mic. We're not here to judge. We're here to understand. What does it feel like to be ignored, to be targeted, or to watch it happen and say nothing? One by one, kids started speaking. Jalen talked about how he used to pretend to laugh when Travis picked on others, just so he wouldn't be next. A girl named Shania Lewis shared how she used to fake being sick just to skip school when things got too loud in the halls. Even Zeke, to everyone's surprise, stood up. We thought it was funny, but we were just scared of being picked on ourselves. Malik didn't speak right away, but near the end, Ms. Rivera looked his way. Malik, would you like to say anything? He stood up, walked down to center court, took the mic. I didn't want to fight, he said. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just wanted to be left alone. But when someone keeps pushing you, sometimes silence ain't enough. He paused, looking around the room. I didn't hit him. I just defended myself, that's all. But I learned that sometimes people respect power more than peace until they see what peace actually looks like. The room stayed quiet, not out of awkwardness, out of respect. After the forum, kids started having real conversations in the cafeteria, in group chats, even during class, not just about Malik, but about the environment they'd all accepted for too long. And slowly, things started to shift. Because once someone breaks the pattern, you can't pretend not to see it anymore. The video stopped at the push, that clean, controlled move that sent Travis to the ground. But what people didn't see, what the camera didn't catch, was what happened after. They didn't see how Malik stood still, breathing steady, waiting until Travis got up on his own. They didn't see how Malik walked away, not to look tough, but to protect what his grandfather taught him. Never lose yourself, even when someone else already has. They didn't see how Malik went home and didn't brag, didn't post, didn't even talk about it unless someone asked. They didn't see the way Travis sat alone at lunch 2 weeks later, quiet for once, eyes on his tray, like he finally understood something no one could teach with words. One afternoon, it was raining hard. School let out early. Malik was walking home when he saw someone struggling to close their locker, books spilling out across the floor. It was Travis. They locked eyes for half a second. No tension, no fear, just quiet. Malik walked over, bent down, and picked up a textbook. Here, he said, handing it to him. Travis took it, eyes low. Thanks, he muttered. Malik nodded and walked off. No need for more. Because real strength? It's not just in your stance. It's in how you treat people who tried to break you after they couldn't. Weeks passed. Malik stayed the same, quiet, focused. But people paid more attention now, not because they were scared, but because they understood something about him they hadn't before. Not just that he could fight, but that he chose not to, until he had no choice. Malik didn't become a legend because of a punch. He became one because of how he carried himself after the smoke cleared, because people don't remember who wins fights. They remember who walked away without losing their soul. If you've ever been in Malik's shoes, or Travis's, or just stood in the hallway watching, remember this. You don't have to throw hands to make an impact. But when you do, let it be the last resort, not your first language. Speak up, stand tall, and never let somebody else decide your worth. Because sometimes, the strongest person in the room is the one who stays silent until it's time not to be.